Hey guys, hope you're having a great Monday. Had a great Monday. I guess we are now into Tuesday, midnight New York time, 12:07 a.m. New York time. So, going to get rolling here. It won't take forever. I think there's just a couple of things that we're looking at. First and foremost, obviously, let's start with the obvious, going through the news real quick here, as we always do. Make sure we're on point with what's happening for the week so we don't get caught by any surprises. And if you guys watched any of my recorded video, yesterday, Sunday, then you would have saw a little bit about this. And we've got banking holidays for the euro, French, German, Italian bank holidays on Wednesday. We've got FOMC, we've got ISM manufacturing, within and itself is actually a pretty decent one to trade. We got federal funds rate, we got FOMC news conference, and then we've got Canadian dollar Governor Powell speaking. All in all, Wednesday, I believe, is going to be a pretty crazy day. You know, some pairs may be very volatile, other pairs may be sleeping. You know, either way, it's kind of a crapshoot. I'm not going to be trading Wednesday. As a matter of fact, I took a trade here on Monday, and I'll be hunting for a trade going into Tuesday. But apart from that, Wednesday, I'm definitely not going to be in the markets involved. I'll be watching them, seeing what happens, what levels we get to, but I definitely won't be trading Monday. And even going into Thursday, typically what happens, markets will be fairly muted. They'll have such a crazy swing, I believe, from all of this news up here on the Wednesday, that Thursday we could just see a fairly quiet day. We may not see large ranges on Thursday, and it could be fairly quiet, tight consolidated ranges. It's a possibility. Think of it like the lead up to an FOMC or an NFP event. Because that's what's following us the very next day, which is NFPs coming in here at 8:30 a.m. New York time on Friday. So, all in all, definitely Wednesdays and Fridays. Friday I won't be trading, but and Thursday certainly won't be trading the cable. We have inflation report, official bank rates, monetary policy. All on Thursday for the cable, so I definitely won't be looking at that one. We have a yen holiday on Thursday as well. So all in all, this week is going to be a little scattered, so you don't want to get too vested. My trade, which I'll show you here in a minute, on the euro on Monday was just a quick trade in and out. I think I was 25 pips total, and I was done. That's all I'm going to be looking for on Tuesday. So I don't think we're going to see 100 pip movements. We will see 100 pip movements on some pairs, but it'll be more than likely associated with the U.S. dollar, and probably on Wednesday. Friday NFP, I don't know what to expect on that one yet, but definitely not high probability anyway, no matter what you think. And then going into next week, I think we're going to be a little more back to normal. We have a couple of bank holidays again. There's a yen bank holiday, a UK bank holiday, and then another French bank holiday next Wednesday. But so we've got some nice, high volatility impact news events on next week, which are going to be pretty nice news drivers. And so I think we'll have a pretty good setup next week. So just going to get through this week here. It is the start of a new month, or will be in a day or two. And with that comes obviously new opportunities. So, that being said, let's jump into the US dollar here. We've obviously got a couple of levels that I'm looking for here. I'm thinking, let me just zoom in here a little bit. So my thoughts here are basically, I think there's a chance that if we look in the weekly, zip up here a little bit, we see price pretty thinly traded right into this area here. So there is a good chance that if they want to push price higher on the US dollar, we could end up all the way up there. And this is long term. That's anywhere from 99 all the way up to and including almost 99.75. That's a possibility. I think what we're going to end up seeing is more so them pushing up into here. And I got sort of an upper limit range area target on the week of 98.35. and I'm looking for them to drop down one more time here going into tomorrow. Now, I don't want to see them go much lower than 97.40. That's sort of where I want to see them get stuck. Just sort of right about the candle high right back in here is sort of where I'd like to see them stop. And then, they could certainly come all the way back down, and I definitely do not want to see them go any lower than in here. But if I start trading back into this range here, back in this orange shaded range, that to me, in my opinion, is going to be a very difficult scenario to remain bullish. Now, if you look what they've got up here, though, we've got a couple equal highs. The high on this candle in here comes in at 98.03, and the high end on this candle comes in at 90. Won't come up. It's pretty close. It's about 90. You can see at the bottom of my screen there, 98.05. So pretty close in terms of their proximity. Last Friday did just grab the high by 2 pips, and then we're running south. But I think they're going to rebalance somewhere down in this range right here. I'm going to be looking for a price to come down into here and see if there's any sensitivity at that level. And I want to see if they want to drive this thing and push this thing one more time higher. If we can't get any momentum or any rebound off of this area here, then they could drag this thing down into Tuesday. And if they drag this thing down into Tuesday, then Wednesday we could again see them maybe springboarded off of these levels down in here. But I don't want to see them go much deeper than that. I think there's going to be a very hard time for them to reverse this thing if they got all the way down to there. Certainly possible. There's a tiny little area down here that I kind of liked, that I wish they would have come down and reached into. They didn't, and they just springboarded off and set a new high here. And I think we do still have more room on the upside. Again, 98.35 more, so to speak. What I think is where I think they could cap the week off. So that's what I'm going to be watching for on the week. And I mean, if that does happen, that'd be great. That'd be about $1 move. If we could get an entry off of this 97.45 level, we'd be just a little under $1 move up to here for the US dollar. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it'll start putting the low in fairly soon. And again, I'm just looking. I'm going to go down to whoops. Fix this chart here. Go down to an hourly. And again, I'm just sort of looking them come back down and rebalance off of these levels right in here. We actually came down already just briefly right into the top of this candle here, right there. But I think we could see a little bit further downward slide. So we'll see what happens. There is definitely a possibility, if it starts sliding past here, that we could make a quick swing underneath these lows here. I'm not as concerned about that, but I definitely want to see them run this down a little bit more and then pop and run the other way. So if that does happen, and this is what my overall market review from Sunday was looking like, I wanted to move back up into this area into here. Basically, see the lows of these 1, 2, 3 candles right in there. I want to see if price can come back up into there. My trade on the day, I'll just talk about that here real quick. This was Friday's close, and then Sunday opened up, it came down, created a low, and then popped off of that and came back down, created another perfect equal low, actually. I think these are going to get rated here later on. Low comes in at 111.44, and this low comes in at 111.44. So that's why I have this target right here. I'm going to just draw that out a little bit, actually. I think that's where this level here, I believe, will get taken out this week. And on my upside, I got a long in, I believe it was right around here at 111.55 was my level. So we saw price come in here, and I was waiting for them to jam price down. I got in on this candle right here, and just because of the spread, the low of that candle, I didn't get the low, but I got about 3 pips off the low, which was right about there, 111.53 right there, and then just with the spread I got in at, my actual entry was at 11.55. So not too bad. Did have a little bit of drawdown. The next two candles dropped down a little bit lower than anticipated, but we're talking 11 pips, I think. So very well within my allowable stop limit, and we saw the resulting move, and I got out right at the high today, which was, sorry, it wasn't the high. I got out at 1180 was my target, so right about there. So not a bad little trade, 25 pips on the day. I'll take it, banked, handled, and let's move on for tomorrow. Because again, we're not seeing large ranges. The total range for the day was only 40 pips. I got over half of that, so not terrible. And I know some of the guys in the group got that trade as well too, so I'm glad you saw that. And I think going into tomorrow, so this is why I was thinking here with the euro, with the euro, very similar to what we're looking for on the US dollar. I wouldn't mind see them try to drive up. Let me just get rid of this area here. I'm going to drag this out just a wee bit. So if we see bullish action on the US dollar, and again, I'd like to see them just drop down and just sort of run the stops real quick, wick down and reject, we should see something very similar on the US dollar. Just to sort of, they're consolidating in here, and they're probably going to do this for another couple hours, and then just one quick run higher to clean out these highs here, and then I'd like to see them drop lower, and I believe these lows under here are going to be the targets for the day. And then, we got bank holidays and everything else going into Wednesday, so I'm not sure if they want to keep taking it lower from there. Again, I'm not going to predict what they want to do until after FOMC and after NFPs on Friday. We'll have to wait and see, because we do have a lot of levels, of course, up in here that I think they're going to want to run price to. And but ultimately, you know, going forward, ultimately we've got some levels under here. Price came down last week and hit a low of 111.10, and the low right in here came in, if you can, I can't get that on there, 111.08. So it just failed to get below this old low here by 2 pips. So they're going to leave that. I think they're going to come back down for it. Now, if you look at this on the weekly, you know, they're just sort of coming back up, and I think they're going to rebalance off of some of these levels in here. And I like these lows right here. So, you know, even a run up to 112.10 could be in the cards. So another 20 or so pips from here. Just get that on that if I can. Yeah. And that's basically just hitting back into these lows right here. We could see a bit of a push up there. Again, if we see a little bit more of a sweep below here, you know, we may see a run up all the way back up to here, about another 20 pips higher. I'm not going to bank on it. I'm not going to say it's definitely going to happen. We're sort of already at a high level. I'd like to see them start rolling over. But that's my line in the sand on the euro. If price starts trading above 112.10, that's mainly why I bring it up. If we start trading up above there and start challenging this high here of this candle, then the odds and the likelihood of them going back down and running back underneath this low here and taking out these lows here, it's going to be less likely to happen anytime soon. They may want to run things higher and then retrace back down and then come forward. I don't know, but ultimately, I'd like to see them start to run into some resistance up into here and then eventually fall over. So that's sort of what I'm looking at, and again, that's just kind of right up into here, right up into this level. Anywhere from here to here, I'd like to see them start petering out. So that's what I'm looking for. And again, target-wise, I'm not expecting much. I'm not expecting this thing to run 100 pips to the downside or anything. But certainly if we do see a real quick stab up into this neck of the woods here and then down, you know, I think my target would be for the day somewhere down in here, and that would be, you know, anywhere 30, 40 pips, 70 pips even. That would be enough if we could get that range on the Tuesday. So we will see. And again, that's my line in the sand. If I see price basically breaking on the, so I'm on the 1 hour chart right now. If I see price breaking higher than this candle right up in here, then I'm going to be pretty concerned that price may not be bearish on the day, and then we could just see price want to run these highs in here. So that could certainly be on the menu. If it wants to run those highs, then it could want to run these highs up in here. And again, we all know how that happens. So nice bullish trend though, but I think that's going to get broken here fairly soon. But we'll see. I want to see the high come in on in the next few hours here, and then I want to see this thing start running lower. Pound dollar. Let me just get rid of this. I don't need that. So there was something interesting that I did see. I don't know if any of you trade the pound yen at all, but tell me if this looks. So remember this. So we've got a low. They swept down here, ran up, created an interim high, came back down on a nice deep retracement, rebalanced price, basically right at the highs of this consolidation level, and then ran higher, creating a new high, came back down about this was about a 79% retracement level, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I'm sorry. This move here was about a 79% retracement level off of this move here. Came down, just failed to get underneath here, exploded higher, ran the high. So we got a new high up here that's created. And then they've just been steadily, ever since, dropping price all the way down. And then finally now we're back to sort of the apex of this pivot right here. And now we're seeing a little bit of a bounce. Now, look at this. So remember that chart. Now look at this chart. Do you see the difference? Exactly the same. So we had that big, deep sweep down here. Then price ran up. They retraced back down. Expanded up. Created another new high. Ran back lower. Failed to get under here. Expanded higher. Just took out this high here. And ever since then, they've just been sort of going sideways. To me, that looks fairly bullish. And if you look at what we've got, so look at this overall price structure. Look where we came from, all the way down here. Price set a low, and it's been steadily making higher highs until here. And they've been running down. They had that one last rip right down there, which came and brought us right back down to these original lows down here. So if you look at this and you think, okay, almost an exact mirror image of what the U.S. the pound dollar is doing. We've got a lot of highs up in here, and up in here, and up in here, and here, and here, where they have major stops residing, and basically sky's the limit all the way up. We got a couple of relatively equal highs right there, and we have a whole bunch of price action in here where they could jump it. So just go with me on a second here. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, they are bullish. Because they did come down and do a big deep stop run here, which, again, 500 pips in one day. That's enough to scare you, especially if you're on the wrong side of the market. But look what they did here. So they came up, they ran those stops, and again, I'm not going to rehash this, but look what they left under here. They left a huge area where they have not run the stops. Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times they came down and still have failed to get into there. Again, I'll just reference the cable chart again. Look what we did in cable. Same exact price. We had the big sweep here, run up, run up, run up, and then just sort of consolidating and dropping all at the same time into that wedge formation. But look, they swung down and they took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lows out right here last week. They finally got those. But again, pound yen did not do that. So my thoughts are we have a bit of a deviation and a crack in correlation between these two. And my thoughts are on this, that if they don't run these lows here, it's going to basically showcase a lot of strength on the pound side of things, of this contract, of this currency basket. And I believe that there could be a lot of higher prices in the future for this and the pound dollar. And again, if they don't take that low, now they could certainly come down and sweep down, reject, and then go up. But this to me looks a lot stronger than the pound dollar chart. And it's kind of interesting to me. It's almost a mirror image of it, except for this little cracking correlation that we've got right here. So I'm going to be looking to see if they want to run these stops down here, and if they do, I bet you it'll probably be a quick rejection, and then we'll see higher prices. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. Put it on your charts, just mark it, make a journal, do a snapshot, and say, you know, these were my thoughts, and basically my thoughts would be something kind of like this, and like that. That's sort of what my thoughts are. But you can see it's kind of forming into a descending wedge, essentially, which is the same as this guy. Just sort of imagine just sort of a you know, wedge right here, a descending wedge. So kind of interesting. But anyway, I'm not going to be doing anything with the pound this week, other than, I think, you know, again, they could run this thing a little bit higher. I had a couple of levels right in here that I was looking at to see if they wanted to get up into this neck of the woods. They just failed to do so last week, end of last week there, and chose to middle of last week there, and chose to run it down, creating an all-time low. I shouldn't say all-time low, creating a new low, sweeping under these lows here. A new 60-day low. That's what I was going for. So now, again, we've seen the last 3 days bullish, and we could be trying to run up and just get above this candle high here, and I would assume that they may want to hold prices off at the 129.75 level, maybe 129.70. You know, it sort of all depends. Somewhere in that range. I would expect them to pop it up, and then, you know, and then hopefully drop a little bit lower. But again, with the pound, with Brexit and everything else, anything's possible. Euro GBP is looking very bullish this month, and we had a slight drop in here for the end of last week, and it looks like we've rebalanced it and had a nice strong day on Monday. So again, if we have strength on this, it will lend to weakness in the cable. So again, we could see price start to roll over a bit. So just watch out for that. But like I say, I'm not trading this pair just because it's you know, a lot of Brexit. And again, this week it's all monetary policy and everything else going on. So I'm definitely going to be sitting on the sidelines on this pair here going forward for the next couple of weeks. Or sorry, the rest of this week, I mean, and then we'll look into next week and see what happens. But I was looking at this. This is interesting. So this was last Friday's trading. I saw a price come in here, create that low, and then come off of that. And I waited, and I actually had a trade on Euro on Friday, so I didn't get involved in this. But I saw this happen as it happened. I was like, I bet you they're going to jam price down there and reject, and that's exactly what they did. Hope some of you saw this and got in on this trade, because that would have been, if you waited out till today, or I'm sorry, on Monday, that would have been a nice 70 pip trade. It would have held it over the weekend, obviously, but there's a lot worse trades out there to take than that. But you just this thing was just clear for a mile what they were going to do, and they ran it and then dropped it down and then popped it right back up. So kind of cool to see. That's it for pound, euro, and U.S. dollar, euro GBP, U.S. CAD. Real quickly. You know, again, if we do see a continuation higher on the U.S. dollar going, and again, I'm looking for them to run price above these highs here for the week, we should see the same similar action in the U.S. CAD and see price rip up into here. Price came down and basically hit bang on to that level that I was talking about. I was looking for 134.40. And price on Monday came down to 134.38, so it went deeper by 1 pip. And so I would consider that a balanced range in there. Anything lower, if they want to start trading all the way down here, I wouldn't be interested. I'd wait to see if we lost this low. So if price started coming down and we lost this low from Monday, I'd be a little bit hesitant because they could want to rebalance at the 134 even level, or 134.00, I guess you could say, and before they run up. But I am looking for higher prices on this pair, and I think they're going to do it here fairly soon. Now again, this week and next week we've got some pretty significant Canadian dollar news, so just watch out for this one. I don't think it's going to be a straight shot up. I hope it is. It'd be great, but you know, we could look at about 100 pip range on the Canadian dollar. but I think that it may not be as cut and dry as that. But so watching this guy here, we saw that big surge and that big pop last week, and then they just kind of slowly have been wandering this thing down. I don't know if they want to take it one range lower, like I said, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. You know, if anything, maybe they'll just come down into here and maybe just sweep these, you know, see these three lows right here, 1, 2, 3. They may come down and just pop down lower than that quickly, and it would just be sort of a quick run beneath that low there, I bet you, and those lows there, and then reject and then run higher. Could certainly be an option. You know, let me just look at this here real quick. Got that low there, that high there. 134.35 potentially on the downside. That's about 30 pips lower. Price would basically have to stop right in here. So I wouldn't want to see it come through this range right there. I'd want to see it stop here and then come down and then rebalance and then run lower and try to get for the this high right there. That's what I would see happening, you know, as a potential scenario for the U.S. dollar or U.S. CAD. Don't know if that's going to happen, but I definitely foresee higher prices in its future. So I don't know if you're a big U.S. CAD trader, but you know, I'd be looking to getting long anywhere from here to here, and then I'd have my stop probably under you know, this level in here, somewhere in there. Wouldn't want to see price go any lower than there. So it's quite a range. You'd have to obviously manage your risk, but that's you know, something that you could certainly look at doing. So to be honest with you, if price wanted to start going lower than this low here, I'd be concerned that they may want to start running lower. So you could actually probably tighten your stop up a little bit here, and I would probably have it right around under there, because if price wanted to start stabbing under that low there, I wouldn't be too interested in it. So if we do see a run back down to 134.35, that might be something that I might want to entertain and look at as well too. So something to keep on your radar screen. U.S. yen is basically just doing a whole lot of nothing in here. I was hoping that this move here and then the subsequent downward spike would have started to loosen this thing up a little bit, but we're still stuck in this pretty tight range in here. So unfortunately with yen, there's nothing that I can talk about yet. I am looking, if we do see a move higher on the U.S. dollar, the corresponding move higher on the U.S. yen to start taking out this level, this level, this level, and like, I mean, they're just like all like dominoes. With the ultimate one being this high here, I'd be looking for if we see a nice run up. But so far it's just stuck in a range, not doing a whole bunch, so we can't do anything with it until it's out of that. Australian dollar, talk about stuck in a range. We had price run all the way up, 2 equal highs up in here. Keep an eye on those guys there and those guys there. Let me change the color of this. And we ran up and then ran back down, rejected underneath this low here, and now it's just sort of doing nothing again. So again, it's FOMC week, so don't be too crazy on this pair here. Give them a good week or so, and I think they'll finally start figuring out their range, and I hope it's going to break out of this range here. To be honest with you, if you trade any of these pairs, the Kiwi or the Aussie, I believe the Aussie is actually the better one to be trading. It's trending a lot nicer. Okay, so that's it for Forex. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and shoot them up in the chat. I'd be happy to answer those for you. I'm going to just talk about crude oil here real quick, and I think I'm going to call it. I don't think there was another commodity there that I saw. I just did a real brief. Well, actually, if you look at the ES or S&P Mini, we just made another high today on the S&P. Another one right there. Boom, big candle. Just ran the 2 old previous highs, which is an all-time record high. I mean, look at this thing. Look at this is from 2002. People were yelling and screaming that this was the high up in here, and we had a big retracement, and then they screamed through that, doubled it, tripled it, quadrupled. Like, look at the levels in here. Would triple this level right in there. It's pretty incredible. pretty incredible. I would just be careful with this. I mean, I'm not a believer that this thing is just going to keep going up and up and up and up forever. This has to retrace. Yes, we had a big, deep retracement in here. I don't think that's going to be it, though. I think there could come down and get all the way underneath here. I think it could be a pretty big decline. But that's not to say I'm going to start trying to pick to the top. I mean, ride this thing out until it comes down and you know, breaks underneath here or breaks under here. I mean, that's... you don't have to worry about that. Like, there's still lots of upside, I think, but why can't I get rid of this? There we go. But yeah, I just want to point that out. Another new high today on the S&P, so I'm sure they were all breaking out the champagne and everything else on Wall Street. So we'll see what they want to do from there. Crude oil. I had been mentioning this for a long time here, as price was starting to creep up into this range here, that it was going to start to level out and start to retrace. It punched up one more time and just hit the lows of this little consolidation area in here and then rejected. And a nice big, deep, strong rejection. 2-day, 3-day down, 1, 2, 3. Swept right back into the highs of this old consolidation level right in here and had actually a pretty strong up day for Monday. I don't know if that's going to be the low or not. I kind of hope it is, but there is this level right back down here at 61.10 to 61 basically, where I think they could bring price back down to. So this may be short-lived. If we fail to get above Monday's high right here going into Tuesday, and we kind of have an inside trading day, I'm not going to be as convinced that we're not going to see price then start to sweep underneath these lows here and ultimately tag back off of these 61 dollar level in here. So I'll just kind of go down to a 1 hour chart and just sort of show you what my thoughts were on this. Clean this up a little bit. So I was looking at this level here, so that they came down, stabbed down on Friday, and then Monday started out, and it had basically one quick rejection just to sweep the bodies of these here, and rejected, came back up very strongly, tested those levels one more time, and then expanded. Not a huge range day by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it was only running from 60 to 60 to about 63.40, 63.50. So not a huge day by any stretch of the imagination. And so far, so good. I like how they came down, rejected, and they've come down again to test these levels, and so far it's hesitating. I basically don't want to see them running. See this line right here? So if I see them run lower than 63.10, you could call it. Let's put this on the upside, downside. 63.10, that's my limit. I don't believe it should need to run down any lower than that. So as long as price stays above there, my next target would be 64.70. And if we start going through 64.70, then I'll be looking for 65.55 and on and up until we hit these highs in here. And then that, I will consider that retracements complete, and we can go about our business. And I believe there is cause for this thing to certainly run up into the 70s. You know, I hear talk about $100 oil and things like that. I don't believe it's going to get there. I think that more than likely we'll probably base out about 70 to 75. Might try to stab up here and take a run for there, but and that's if this is the low. If they want to keep coming down, like I say, we could come down to 61 and jam around in here for you know, the next foreseeable future. You know, and if we just look for 1 minute as well too, you know, let's consult the seasonals on this and see what is going on there. Get the historical reference on crude oil. So we can see here the contract. So April, very, very big bullish month, which is exactly what we saw. February, March, and April, big bullish months. And then now we're starting to come into, again, sort of the end of April. And look what just happens right here. A big rejection. And then a consolidated price. So, like I say again, it is feasible that they're not done going lower, or if they are, that they just sort of bang around in here, or maybe they drop one more time and start banging around in here for the next, you know, couple of months until we see that big surge sort of mid-June to run up to the highs, or try to get the highs anyways. We have a bit of a bullish move in here. So let me take this 15-year off. You can see we have the lows coming in set in mid-June, and then we have a nice sort of steady run higher before it hits the highs in October. And we could see the same thing again happen. 15-year, very, very similar on the 15-year. We get some consolidation in the month of May, and then a push higher. So long story short, I guess we can wrap that up by basically just saying that crude oil, I don't think we're going to get up to 75 anytime soon. Maybe towards the end of the year, that October time frame, that third quarter of the month, maybe we'll start to see that ramp up into there. But I'm for the next rest of May anyway, just sort of looking at this and thinking, well, you know, there's a good chance they could just sort of bang around in this low $60 range here for the next little while. So we'll see what happens. But like I say, going forward, going into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, this is my low on it. Don't want to see them come any lower than that. I'm going to be waiting and watching to see if they have any inkling to go higher, and then we can look to try to get long. If this thing wants to go lower than 63.10, then we can obviously trade that as well and take a short down to $61. So that's what I'm looking at. And that's, like I say, that was about all I saw on the charts. Everything else was just kind of, you know, same sort of day. Not too much happening. And that's about it. So hopefully we'll see the U.S. dollar base rate in here run down just a little bit and then start stabbing higher. And if we don't, then look out below, because this thing could start running south in a pretty big hurry. So we'll see how that goes. So anyway, like I said, guys, take it easy on Tuesday. Don't get too nuts. I don't think we're going to see 100 pip ranges. I could be wrong, certainly. Hopefully I am. And hopefully you're right in the right direction. If you do get a 100 pip range, and go easy, don't be trading Wednesday, because Wednesday's going to be a bit of a gong show. And obviously a Thursday I don't think is going to be a great day, and certainly Friday it's NFP. So after Tuesday, I'm going to just elect to sit on the sidelines and just hold off until early next week. So I hope this helps, guys. Hope I gave you some levels to look at, and hopefully you're successful. Capital preservation is king, so remember that. And we'll catch up to you next. I'll be back in on Thursday. Dave will be in on Wednesday, and again on Friday. So we'll catch up to you guys then. Thanks very much for watching. Oh, and if you like our stuff, subscribe to our YouTube channel down here, or check us out at f45trading.com. There's a ton of options on there for you. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you the next time.